The Community Fund is for local schools, groups and individuals to run projects in their community. As an involved customer, I sit on the panel who marks the applications against the criteria which ties into the community impact strategy.
The group it was formed so that people can get together and not be isolated in their own homes. These events wouldn't happen if we didn't get funding. It would just everybody would not know what's going on, or they just wouldn't come to anything because they wouldn't happen.
So the project list was set up. I was working at the doctor's surgery and I've seen a lot of women coming in quite down really and struggling, so I'd chat to them, being on reception, and I just thought it'd be great to have a bit of a non-agenda group, so meet, for a coffee, and seeing a lot of them had young children, so I just suggested to a few of them, would you like to meet up and we'll just have a bit of a friendship and a bit of a chat, and then that happened. We ended up with kind of 3, and then from that we ended up with nine members, and through the group we ended up looking at more issue-based work and the mental health that they were struggling with, and looked at things that were stopping them really achieving what they wanted and reaching their full potential. So we kind of met up every week, and for them they all formed friendships between themselves, so some of them had not been out of the house, so for them coming every week was really a good thing for them, so that was the aim really.
I attended it for about a year, and it was really helpful, and it's helped me make friends and helped me get out more and helped me have a little bit of a purpose into coming out. It's brought us together really, and we've helped support each other, and we're still friends and we're still supporting each other outside of the group. It's not just within the group.
I think the community fund's a great idea. I think it really supports kind of small groups. I know for us we've been supported in different projects we've done. It supports some of the social elements of it, so like we go on an annual holiday to Pontins, so it helps support the transport and stuff like that, so it really kind of enriches the work we do. It's not just a meet up, but actually we can add some value to it, so it's great, the fund, it's really great.
So we're the Friends of Cadishead and Little Woolden Moss, which is this area here, which is a big part of Chat Moss. The site's owned by Lancashire Wildlife Trust, and it's 224 acres, which is massive for an urban nature reserve. It's very badly damaged, as you can see, lots of bare peat, so we're trying to get green things to grow and turn it into a really good nature reserve.
It helps create a huge green space that all the surrounding communities can come. There's a trail around with information about the animals for the kids to learn, and yes, it can just be a nice afternoon out for the family.
Learning new things, learning skills, doing things you've probably never even thought of doing before. It's a very unusual project after all. You're doing stuff that's good for the ecosystem and the planet as a whole, creating opportunities for other people to come out onto the site, such as the volunteers and the clients at Princess Park Garden Centre that come out here with us, an away day for the Salford Young Carers. There are teenagers doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award that come out here to do some of the voluntary time that they have to do.
We're part of Westwood and Alder Park Tara. Westwood and Alder Park Tara was set up a couple of years ago by the local residents because we felt that there was a need to do more in the area. We've recently taken over the local community centre that until recently was run by SCL, but we've now obtained the lease and we're using it to run events from here. So throughout the holidays we run a number of play schemes. Through the summer we've had dads running bike schemes, we've had health and wellbeing schemes, cooking schemes, craft schemes. It's been brilliant, we've had great loads of attendance. We also run a Christmas party, a Halloween party and Easter events through the Easter holidays. Once we took over the community centre, we realised that we had a bit of a skills gap because none of us had a facilities background, and obviously when you're running a community centre there's a lot of compliance that you need to have in terms of health and safety. So the fund has paid for 3 of us to complete IOS training, 3 of us to complete working safely. Since we've completed the training through the fund, we've now been able to offer a much wider range of groups that are running here. So we've now got the Brownies running here, we've got the Broughton Trust delivering training for parents who are looking to get back into work, because we now know what we need to do. We're safe, we're compliant. There's huge amounts of risk involved with doing these things, which we would never have touched before, but now we feel confident that we can run it. I think the community fund is a really good idea, because if that wasn't there, basically we wouldn't have been able to do a large number of the things that we do. None of us would have got the training that we needed because we just wouldn't have been able to afford it. and therefore we wouldn't have been able to safely run the centre that we're running now. And if that wasn't the case, it would have all gone away. And those groups that are now setting up, so you've got new mums groups, you've got cheerleading groups, you've got Morris dancing groups, which are great because it's getting the kids in, it's getting them active, it's getting them involved in their community, and none of that would happen if we hadn't had that money to do that training. So it's like a knock-on effect. If you get that, you can do so much with it. It's just unreal, and we're really grateful for that opportunity.
I think the community fund is a good idea because it gives the people and the children that are out to come here and have something to do and not be out causing trouble and things like that.
Yeah, the organisation is Barton Athletic Club, founded in 1953. We have since been going over 60 odd years in different venues. First started on Barton Moss, certainly then onto the Steelworks, and then up to the Eccles area, and 3 or 4 different venues in the Eccles area till we got this new facility that was built in 2014.
I attended a boxing leadership course funded by City West, and the course took place here at Shat Ladies, Barton Athletics, and we basically ran through all different boxing techniques and how to set out a boxing session, such as pads, bag work, skipping, and also teaching young kids and older people. From this course, I have now gone into employment with a certificate being on my CV, and I work in a local gym and helping out kids and stuff, showing them machines and all different boxing techniques. So that's it.
I mean, any funding, certainly, but City West came up with this funding, and we saw the opportunity again about people learning skills that can be offered to the community later. I mean, you don't have to be the most academic person. If you get these youngsters onto the courses, then they can offer back to society, and you give them things to look forward to every week. Other than all the other bad things in society, you could come into the club. Nobody who's coming in here, for the millionaires who come here, who don't actually think they're millionaires, but for all the sort of people who've been training here for over 60 odd years, society, in the sense of that, passing them skills down to the youngsters and giving something to offer. So everybody's got a chance in life to just make what's offered to you and make it work.